let's get into this thing. Starrcade 1986 Part 2, sponsored by you, the patron. tinyurl.com/BTT patron. Become one. It does us a huge favor. So I want to thank you all out there who are already patrons. But we go into this thing, and last week we left off. We were getting ready to start with the Dusty Rhodes versus Tully Blanchard first blood match. And let me just do this. I want to play the introduction of Dusty and Tully right here. Since there's not a lot of interviews or hardly any interviews, I want to play some of the introductions tonight. So here's the introduction as we jump into Dusty and Tully in the second half of Starrcade 86. Here it is.
Our next event is for the World Television Championship. This is a fight to the finish, a first blood match. The first man to draw blood from his opponent will win the match. Introducing first in the corner to my right, the challenger from San Antonio, Texas, accompanied by his manager, J.J. Dillon, weighing in tonight, 235 pounds, Tully Blanchard. And now, look out, the world's television champion from Austin, Texas, the American Dream, weighing in at 285 pounds, fans, Dusty Rhodes.
All right, I wanted to play it to give everybody a feel for it. You know, I know a lot of people didn't like Dusty because he booked himself so much, but I don't know.
Sounds like they did to me.
Sound like
Yeah.
that's what I was about to
They
say.
were booing him, right?
Well, they were booing Tully, but they were cheering Dusty pretty damn loud, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we go into the match.
I've always thought that's some revisionist history right there. People want to say they like something on the ground floor, didn't like something on the ground floor. Man, if Dusty was still over then.
I think at this point he definitely was with the majority. I mean, there
Maybe 87, later into 87. We'll have to
Right.
see. We'll be there, but I think the average mark still thought Dusty was the American dream, pal.
Yeah, I would say so.
100% think so. Well, we'll get into this match. I love this thing. At the beginning, JJ tries to put an amateur headgear on Tully.
Was that what that was? That looked like a damn jock strap to me.
It was very fucking flimsy. Wouldn't you agree, Harper?
Yeah, he tried to pull out the amateur headgear, which makes sense.
Right.
You know,
Anything
He's
you
trying
can
to
do to protect yourself.
it would have been nice if he would have had like a football helmet or something put over his head with the face mask.
Well, then he one-ups us and he puts he slathers freaking grease all over Tully's face. Did y'all catch that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Like a boxer.
Right. And he's doing this all before the match begins. All this is going down. So, but then JJ decides to get in Dusty's face, and JJ gets busted open before the match starts when he approaches Dusty, when Dusty gives him a world-famous Dusty Rhodes elbow. Right after that, the match finally starts. But I wanted to throw it to Harper first. How times have changed. Now, JJ got busted open last year at Starrcade 2, and I've seen a bunch of matches actually over the last year and on Worldwide where JJ was in a bunkhouse stampede last December, and he got busted open. But Harper, we got managers getting busted open. Times have changed, pal.
Yeah, and I like this because it showed the crowd that, man, if he can bust him open with just one elbow, if he does that to Tully, the match is over with.
Yeah, pretty much. Doc, any thoughts from that part before I get into the meat of the match?
Man, it's not a good sign for you when you're in a first blood match when your manager gets busted open.
Yeah.
That does not look good for your side.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Well,
But, I mean, how crazy is it to just utter that statement in a vacuum? The manager got busted open before the bell rang.
Well, so imagine this. I think I did watch Raw this week on using the fast forward button.
Wow.
Imagine Paul Heyman. Well, key word is the fast forward button, fellas. I watched literally probably 4 segments in total. It took me about 45 minutes. But anyway, imagine Paul Heyman at WrestleMania this year getting busted open by Roman before Roman's match with Lesnar. I mean,
That would have been awesome.
It would be awesome, but you'll never see it. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm trying to make. But the match finally starts. Lots of punching and kicking. The match is kind of short for pay-per-view type standards or big show standards.
Yes, it was.
Towards the end, the referee gets bumped when Dusty has Tully in a suplex. Now, Tully comes up bloody from a series of stiff punches to the forehead. Tully rolls over to JJ, which I think is great. JJ wipes the blood away, and then JJ puts grease or Vaseline on Tully's head almost to act like a cork on the fact that, Tully's busted open, stop the blood flow. In the meantime, Tully gets a roll of nickels or quarters or dimes, some kind of silver coinage. Tully turns around, knocks the fuck out of Dusty with the roll of coin. Dusty's busted open. The referee comes to. Referee sees Dusty bleeding, and we have a new world TV champion, even though Tully bled first. Doc, I'll throw it to you first, and then Harper will get your thoughts. Doc, what'd you think?
Somewhere in there, Dusty got mad and threw one of JJ's loafers into the crowd. So some lucky fan went home with one alligator, if you will.
Yes.
And JJ, man, my note here is he was earning his pay tonight, dude. He was over there working. He was doing a manager's job. He could be single-handedly responsible for that belt coming back to the Horsemen.
Yeah, I kept thinking, man, I hope he's wearing like a cheap suit,
right?
The older one, because it's fucking ruined now.
Yeah. Man, they showed this. They showed the slow motion of the punch. Those flying coins is a great visual.
Yeah.
It's not as good as powder or anything or mist, but still, man, that's just a great visual. That it's just I've enacted enough force that it's busted this thing open and shit's flying.
Well, and he swung it with so much conviction when he threw that punch at Dusty with the quarters or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he knocked his block off.
So my thing here was the beginning and the end of this thing was awesome. I expected more in the middle. Like when y'all said it was short, I kind of had the same note. I expected more like to get there. To get in and to get out was aces. It was awesome. I just kind of thought there'd be more meat to it in the middle.
I got some thoughts on that and why I think it was short, but I don't know. I'm just speculating. But Harper, what'd you have from this?
I want to see the next week's episode. See what fucking Dusty's got to say about this.
Well, keep in mind, Harper, next week was probably taped. Well, not probably. I know it was. Yeah, I've seen it.
Right.
It was taped prior to this, so. Like, Cornette is on next week's episode, and spoiler alert, we're about to talk about this in a second. Cornette is in the hospital right at this point the next week because of his knee.
Why?
But they taped it ahead of time. But Cornette is on TV like nothing's wrong with him, because nothing is wrong with him because they taped it before it happened. But anyway, so we'll have that to deal with next week. But I agree. You it does make you want to come back and see now what Dusty's going to say.
Yeah, I'm anticipating the promo.
Yeah, because he got
keep them coming back. Keep them coming back for more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Harper, you made a good point about the suit. That suit is ruined.
Yeah, dude, he looked like he was fucked up, and the thing is, he's not gonna wipe that blood off because it's such a great visual.
Right? Did you see? Because you saw a couple times when they pan over to him and he's in the corner.
It's like fuck, man.
Right. He's like showing the agony of, God damn, I'm fucking busted open, but I'm out here and I got to stay out here for Tully. The visual, they show him over there a couple times, kind of like dab his head a little to kind of wipe it, but not a lot. Yeah, that was awesome.
Let me tell you something, man. JJ just entered himself into the Rolex discussion right there.
Did you forget, though, how bad JJ got busted open last year at Starrcade?
That was different. That was Ron Bass, dude.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
All right. I think so. Yeah.
And Black Bart, huh?
Talk about somebody whose fortunes have skyrocketed in a year. J.J. Dillon, pal.
That's true. He went from Bart to he's now with the
He had Black Bart,
shit.
Buddy Landale at Starrcade last year. This year he's got a horseman. He's out there slinging ass.
Yeah, buddy. All right, Harper, you got anything else from this match?
Nah.
This was, I tell you what, to start part 2 with this one, the rest has a lot to lot to
Yeah.
fucking build up to. They got a lot to follow, as I would say. But no. Oh, I was saying about the short match. So Doc, like, I've seen people book these first blood matches. You got to be real careful with them because the problem is accidents happen in wrestling, and you can accidentally bust somebody open, and all of a sudden they're bleeding, and so that's the finish. So I like when you keep a first blood match kind of short because you want to eliminate any chance of an accident where somebody's busted open.
I thought it was short to make up time for what we're probably going to discuss later on that they showed.
It could have. Oh, the clip from.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't even have a note to when they start talking about this, so you'll have to remind me as we go through these matches. But okay, yeah.
Tim Horner Award.
That'll get the Tim Horner Award this week, most definitely. We'll keep moving. The next match. Road Warriors versus Midnight Express. Scaffold match. Night of the Skywalkers. It's what the fucking pay-per-view is named after. Or Big Show, because it technically wasn't pay-per-view. Jesus Christ on a popsicle stick, as Stone Cold says. The generic music given to both teams before the introduction is the worst shit on the planet. If you want to know why we complain, imagine watching that, fellas, again, with the real intro music of the Midnight Express, which you heard at the top of the show. And then the Road Warriors coming out, climbing that fucking scaffold with no fear. Imagine, with their music playing. Doc, any thoughts on the intro?
That music would have made our viewing experience skyrocket off the charts and make me even more excited to not like that damn scaffold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because my first note here is nothing about the damn entrance music. It's still fuck that scaffold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Fuck that scaffold.
Here's my next note. It says, man, I ain't going up there, and I definitely ain't going up there with Hawk and Animal.
Well,
I feel bad for Bobby and Dennis.
I mean, you got to. Shit. I mean, who wouldn't? Damn. This is suicide.
This
Yeah,
is some
fuck
bullshit.
that. I mean, just dealing with them like in a regular match is a fucking,
It's a
you know,
it's a load.
right. And now we got to do this from fucking, I don't know, 30 feet up in the fucking air. One false move is bye.
One false move, and when the Road Warriors got up there, did you see the guardrail? Like,
Oh my God!
I was
I saw that. I was like, "Fuck that shit!" When that bar like comes off.
He
Oh,
took it with
God.
his pinky, and it just crumbled.
Oh, fuck!
Animal grabbed that thing and it just came apart, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
And I love Dennis like climbs up and he's like, "Fuck this," and he climbs down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and meanwhile, Animal and Hawk are up there having a Sunday stroll in City Park.
They were looking
Like-
for the bar up there, man. Is there a bar up here we could hit?
Yeah, if you can see it in the YouTube images, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can see the images I posted there where they're just having a Sunday stroll. The Midnights are stalling. They're like, motherfuck this, as Harper says. Now let me play the intro when Shivani introduces both teams, and just listen to the roar from the teams. Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the night of the Skywalkers. To win the match, you must throw both of your opponents off of the scaffold. Introducing first of all, from the dark side, along with manager Jim Cornette, Loverboy Dennis, and beautiful Bobby, the Midnight Express. Ladies and gentlemen, their opponents, along with Precious Paul Ellering from Chicago, a combined weight of 585 pounds. Up top, the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors.
Nice little ovation for the Road Warriors as they get their introduction. Now, remember, to win, both opponents have to fall from the scaffold. Did y'all notice at one point, Animal makes, because the Midnight Express are stalling, Animal makes a gesture because the Midnights won't climb the scaffold. And I'm just I don't condone this word, but I'm gonna say it politely.
Whoa,
He,
hold on, everybody, get it. We want a clean version of this that
I'm
we
just
can.
trying to convey what Animal does, but he makes
What'd he
this
do?
like homosexual gesture with his hand, the sexual.
Oh, I noticed that.
And then if you read his lips, he says the F word, and I
I
ain't
didn't
saying the fuck word,
because I
because
saw it and I was like, no, no, no. That can't be because they
no,
would have took that out.
nah, you can read his lips. He says the F word, and I'm not going to repeat it,
Say
but
it.
no, I know we're unprofessional, but I'm not going to say it. Anyway,
Why?
Did you catch that, Doc? Though.
Sure.
I
Okay.
did.
So here's the skinny on this. Animal and Hawk start shaking the scaffold when Bobby and Stan finally get
God.
up there. Fuck me. Did you see that, Hopper?
Yeah, dude.
Isn't this hard enough?
Fuck that shit. And when they get up there, the first thing they do is drop down.
Yeah.
They're scared shitless, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
What a dumb
God.
shit. What a dumb shit match.
Well,
And here's the thing. I felt horrible for these four guys that are. I don't know. It's just like they deserve better, and they're booked into horseshit, and they're out there trying to salvage crap. And because they're all four awesome, they're pretty much almost getting there. But still,
Corny did tell me when I was talking to him last week that again it'll be up in a week or two. He did say, talking about the scaffold matches, he was like, they were bad matches. He admitted that, and he's like, you can't do anything, which I agree. However, I felt like I'm not gonna sit there and tell you this was a good match, but for me, I'll say they made the best of what we saw. Like they turned chicken. What's the term? They made chicken salad out of chicken shit.
shit.
I really thought they did because I mean, if you listen to the crowd, the crowd is nuts, man. They're going crazy when this shit's going down. Like at one point, Condrey and Eaton hit Hawk and Animal with powder in the eyes. That kind of neutralizes them. But then they do a nice false finish where you figure a false finish on a scaffold. But no, they did it. Condrey and Eaton, or Eaton is dangling from the scaffold, but he finds a way to get back up. And you can kind of hear the crowd like come up like, oh, okay, he's about to fall, but he doesn't. Condrey and Eaton get busted open, so we got more blood, of course.
that's another thing. I was like, man. So wait a minute. I'm them. I'm like, so wait a minute, Jimmy. You mean we gotta get color and fall off this thing? What do they do?
Wait till you hear what Jim said about Condrey and Eaton, how they had perfected falling off of a scaffold without getting injured.
They did.
Because they knew how to fall. Like he was like they knew how to do it. Is what he told me when I talked to him. Yeah, so wait till you hear that. But it's very. I mean, this is hard, dude. I don't know how. This is just a hard match to pull off, but they did it, man. They went like 10 minutes. The thing was, you can see the images on the YouTube channel or the Facebook page after this is posted. Condrey goes first, and then Eaton falls, and then the Warriors win, and they win. But then, did y'all want to talk about that before we talk about what happened with Cornette when they fell off the scaffold, Hopper?
They fucking landed great
It's amazing.
because they just got up like it was a suplex.
Well, they should consider themselves lucky.
I thought Dennis Condrey looked like he may have hurt his leg, but I agree, their fall was much more graceful than Corny's. And Doc says they should consider themselves lucky. Do you want to say why, Doc?
Well, after the match, Corny decides to become a Skywalker too.
Yeah. So Cornette is chased up the scaffold. He doesn't realize Animal is waiting for him on the other side. And I'm sorry, but he isn't acting. He's deadly afraid up there. When you see him go, oh shit, when he sees Animal and realizes he can't crawl back down, that's him. I think, I didn't ask him this, but that's him. I'm scared for my life right now. And he's hanging from the scaffold. He falls.
Let me say this. Doc doesn't like heights at all. And the way I've heard Corny describe his disdain for heights is very similar. And I am not kidding. I mean, I'm saying fuck that scaffold. I mean it. I ain't going up there. We'll call Vern and see what they're doing over in the AWA. I ain't going up there.
What's
I
up?
mean, I can't. When you're that scared, if he's as scared of heights as he says he is, it's equal to what I got. You ain't doing this. Just fuck it. No.
Jimmy, how much do we need to pay you to do this? They ain't a money. As Harper says, there's not enough money that you have to pay me to do it.
Fuck that.
And the only thing that made that happen is that Cornette loved the business so much. I'm sure he didn't want to be the thing that was the sticking, the nail sticking up, and he did it. But I can tell you how much, if that's true, how much he hated doing that, and that was just torture going up there. And guess what? He got to pay the price. He got to pay double price for it.
Wasn't Bubba supposed to catch him?
Dude, they say that, but how out of position could one person be if that's the case?
Well,
and how could he legit catch him, dude? Like seriously.
Well,
I think he could have caught.
Like
I think he could have caught him, but he wasn't even in the same zip code.
Cornette told me last week when we recorded. He said Bubba wasn't really supposed to quote unquote catch him as much as he was supposed to help break his fall.
Right.
was what he said.
Yeah.
But Bubba was.
Well, he didn't either.
Bubba was in another time zone when Corny fell, and you can see Corny's knee just buckle, and it's just nasty.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, Cornette also told me that, and I knew this. These guys did scaffold matches all the time. This wasn't like the first time they had done it. They had done them in Mid-South. They'd done them other places. So the whole scaffold match thing wasn't quote unquote new. I can't remember though, and I wish I would have asked Jim this. I don't know if this was the first time he came off of one. That was the thing I should have asked him, and I didn't. So there you go. There's one for the drive-through. Was that the first time he ever came off of one? So if you're listening to this, since I forgot to ask, why don't you ask? What were you about to say, Hop?
Fucking call him up and ask him right now.
Yeah, text him.
Yeah.
No.
Call his beeper.
Well, he doesn't. Corny doesn't do smartphones, and he doesn't do text messages.
What's his answer machine say? If I really, really like you, or you want to pay me a lot of money, then leave.
I might call you back. That's what he says. I might call you back. Oh boy, yeah.
I hated this match. I hated the match. I give all four guys big ups for trying to salvage it and make something out of it. So it's not blaming them, and at least God bless them for doing it. And poor Jim.
Then when fucking Bobby starts doing that monkey bar shit,
get out.
I said, "There's just no way. Where's he going? There's only one place to go."
Bridge to nowhere, man.
Yeah.
And they had to bleed. Dude.
They got paid a lot, though.
I hope they did.
So if I come over and give $100, I come over and give you $100, can I shove a watermelon up your ass? I mean, there's got to be something to this.
No, but they got a lot of money for this. I mean, let's be real. They were drawing some serious dough, and I don't know if you listened to the
top match on the card.
Did you listen to the Jim Cornette Experience last week, Doc?
Yes.
They were talking about, somebody asked them, and Cornette's told this story a million times, so I'm going to give you the cliff notes of it, when they were somewhat courted by the WWF in the spring of '86. So
we don't up here.
What did you say? You broke up.
We don't bleed up here. We don't do that up here the gig mark.
Yeah, they don't bleed up there. But my point is, what I'm about to make is, Corny and Dennis and Bobby were like, "Oh, fuck that! You can't give us no guaranteed money, no." And like Corny said, they were. It was a money printer down there in the South. So even as bad as the attendance was for the Great American Bash, they were still making money. I mean, you look at the house shows, you look at the worldwide shows; those are packed buildings with rabid fans. I mean,
would any two guys be more misused by the WWF than Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey in 1986?
Damn.
Oh, dude, that wouldn't. No.
The only guy that comes to mind is Tony Anthony.
Which He talked about that on that Patreon episode that
But I
it's
mean,
on YouTube.
Oh, and Barry
Also,
Windham was the
Corny is
stalker.
see, Corny's a star that can get over, but Dennis and Bobby are awesome. But they are Southern wrestling, and they would have got up there and been the guys that could work in a place where that doesn't matter. They were interested in toys when who the shit why. They would have been just ugh.
Yeah, they made the right move. They made the right move. I mean, I couldn't. No, not them. They're Southern wrestling to the core. No, I don't. I would never want to see them in WWF. Hell no. Hell no. No way, no how. Anyway, all right. We will keep going. Harper, is this the point that you want to talk about something that happened in in this show?
What's
Is
that?
this
Oh, wait, no.
okay,
It's
so is it
no.
after the next tag match?
You're talking. No, I'm talking about when after Rick comes out.
Yes.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I kept thinking. Well, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Once
okay.
we get to it. Yeah.
All right. So we will go now to the next tag match in the card, which was the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Ole and Arn Anderson versus the Rock and Roll Express in the cage. And if there's a cage in Southern wrestling, there's going to be fucking blood. Let's just get that out the way now. Anyway, I want you to listen to what Over sounds like
Jeez.
in the South. And I'm trying to cue it up and get to the point where they do the intro. But let me just say this.
It's
Doc,
it's the one you need to play, trust me.
You say this all the time, though, Doc. You're like, I don't know you might not know what Over looks like, but that's what it sounds like, or something to that effect. So here it is. Here's the intros of the Andersons and the Rock and Roll.
Our next event of the evening is for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. One fall with a 45-minute time limit. Introducing in the corner to my right, from the state of Minnesota, the challengers with a combined wrestling weight of 500 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Ole and Arn Anderson.
Hear those boos?
And now, get ready to boogie from the state of Tennessee with a combined wrestling weight of 468 pounds, the world's tag team champions, Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express.
A lot of fucking moist panties in that crowd, let me tell you. Harper, is that what Over sounds like?
That's exactly what it sounds like. The Rock and Roll Express.
Jesus Christ.
That was an extended cheer too. It wasn't just a
Yeah.
yay.
That was incredible. They got
I
that
think
was
they
it,
like
dude.
them.
I think they like them too. That's what Over sounds like, though. So this pretty long match we got here. They actually there's two hot tags. I'm gonna say something about this match.
Dude, this is great.
This is great, but I'm gonna say something that might be controversial.
Yeah.
Remember the match that they had in the arena on Saturday night about
Mhm.
3 months ago that we went ape shit over? They went
Mhm.
like to a time limit draw. Do you remember that one, Harper?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I think that one was better than this. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But they're in a cage, so and it's on the big show. So, but this was great. I have to agree. This is great. I mean,
Yes.
Arn and Ole cut the ring off. You know, they get the
Perfect
heat.
tag team wrestling. They're
Jesus.
doing exactly what they have to do to win.
No wasted motions.
None. Everything makes sense. You watch it in awe. It's one of those things where, and tell me if y'all did this. You were playing it. You didn't hit the screen to see how much longer the match had. You just sat there and enjoyed
Actually,
it.
I had a note here that said, I got caught up in this and forgot to take notes for several minutes.
Dude, I did the same thing. I forgot to write shit down.
It was just perfect. I mean, they got the heat on Gibson first, then they got it on Morton, and then Morton is on fire when he comes in, but then they get the upper hand on him, and then at one point, Arn is dragging Morton's face in the cage, and the fans are just letting out a fucking shrill, like they're, and Morton is selling it, but he keeps fighting
He's a
back.
fucking machine, bruh. Fuck.
I can't say anymore.
That's
Harper.
why I get mad at you two for saying how corny the rock and roll is in 1993 and Smokey Mountain, because y'all don't have any respect for what this was.
Oh, shut up.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. They go ahead, Harper.
And dude, I love the fucking double downs. And you're waiting for the tag, and when fucking they come in and cut them off, and there's the tag, and oh my god, nope, that didn't happen.
Right.
2 or 3 times, you didn't get what you thought was gonna happen, which was great.
And then they finally make it, and it turns into a 4-way in the cage where all 4 are in the ring. Morton is slugging it out with Ole. Gibson's in there with Arn. Gibson drop kicks the back of Morton while Ole has Morton up for a potential body slam. Morton comes down on Ole. Ref counts to 3. Rock and Roll retain the World Tag Team titles.
Did you say Ole? I thought Arn ate the pin.
I think it was Arn.
Was it? Okay, I got it wrong then. Okay, my bad. So Arn ate the pin. But point being, again, just another classic tag match from these teams that are just great at what they do. I don't know what else to say. Doc, anything else you got?
Well, they always talk about tag teams and playing Ricky Morton, but man, Gibson gets overlooked in that regard because he did it first in this match, and he was really good in that role. And so he sells. I mean, Morton is Morton, and don't get it wrong, but Gibson gets underrated just because he stands next to Morton all the time.
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah.
Morton was bloody, pal.
Yeah, and it's. See, he's like Rick. He has that fucking blonde hair, so the blood just looks so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. There was nothing like a Ric Flair juice job back in the day when he's sitting there and that head's, the hair is full of fucking red. Oh, yeah, I agree. It doesn't get any better.
Does anybody in the business get sweatier faster than Arn Anderson?
I was thinking this fucking same thing. Someone throw him a towel.
Arn even sweats in the air-conditioned TBS studio like a mule.
Yeah. So I just noticed that. Man, Arn and Ole put a beat down on these guys, and I thought it was an interesting way to go with psychology that the Rock and Roll they stole that pin and got out of there. And I thought the way they did it was really, really good because it was different than that other match we had seen where it went to the draw. And it's really establishing the Rock and Roll as champs. But, dude, Ole and Arn come out of it as being beasts.
Well, and let me tell you, don't sleep on what Harper said, and I'll further explain. He was talking about the double down. So both guys go down, Morton and Arn goes down. And the crowd is into it, and they're just waiting for Ricky to make the tag. Robert, waiting for Ricky to make the tag. But no, one of the Andersons gets the other tag first, and he's able to hold on to Morton until the other Anderson can come in and stop the tag. And they do that like 3 different times. So by
why I think they did? You know why I think they did it?
What?
I think one of the big problems with this show, and I'll wait till the end to tell you why in general. Because you're going to say they did it last year. I'll tell you why this year's different. This was the main event in one of the places in Greensboro.
Oh, yeah. Good point. That's a good
so
point.
So they had to go longer because this was their main event in-house, in the building.
Yeah. That's a good point. I got to be honest with you before we get to this next match. What we just reviewed was the main event overall, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, for real, huh?
I think not that I'm going to shit on Nikita and Rick. I
think those 4 guys went out there and stole the show. You'd always hear Arn go, "Our job was to go out there and try to steal the show every night from the Horseman perspective." Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And they dialed it up with the Rock and Roll from '86, which was a perfect dance partner.
Yeah. Harper, anything else on this match before we move forward?
Nah.
All right, I want to remind everyone, if you're listening to the show on YouTube, this is just one portion of the show. To listen to the show in its entirety, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast from, including Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, TuneIn Radio. Just search Booking the Territory, subscribe however you get your podcast, never miss a show. You'll get the full show with the opening, the close, the promos of the week, the funny segments we do at the end, along with the interviews. Again, this is just a small portion that you may be listening to on YouTube, but you'll get the full show on the app of your choice. Speaking of Apple Podcasts, Doc, as of this recording, we're recording this on March 7th, 2018. We are 29 5-star reviews away on Apple Podcasts from the BTT Broads episode. I wanted to point that out. So if you're listening,
are we getting some questions from the patrons?
I've got a few. Like Twit Dust sent me a question. I can't remember what it was, but I got that one listed. We've gotten a few. BTT Doc. What is that? Is it BTT underscore Doc? Fake Doc, whatever the fuck whoever.
I don't know. You're the one that runs the account. You tell me.
BTT Doc submitted a couple with hashtag Ask BTT Broads, I want to say. So there's a few out there that are coming in, but we'll really turn it up a notch when we get closer. But we're 29 away, so hey, if you want that episode, it's not going to be a patron episode. It's going to be a bonus show for everyone with the BTT Broads. There it is. Okay, Harper, you wanted to talk about something before the match with Nikita and Ric Flair?
Yes.
Okay, the floor is yours, man.
Well, first of all, Rick comes out to the ring, and he just screams superstar and screams champion. That's what a champion looks like.
Jeez,
That's
I thought the same.
Championship wrestler looks like.
Yes.
And did you hear the guy say, "You son of a bitch"?
I did. I did. I heard it. And hold on, if you want to wait, I'll see if I can get it on the timestamp.
That's true, but I also heard in the middle of the ring during the match, some woman kept yelling, "Go Slick Rick."
Jesus Christ. That shit was driving me too. I got to get it queued to that point. It's really hard.
He just stood there while the whole song played. Like, I'm just going to suck all this in because I'm the champ. And what are you going to do about it?
It was pretty damn good. But yeah, I can't get it queued up to that point, and it's hard to.
Dude, how many times do I have to say this? And you would think if anybody would get this right, at least 86 Jim Crockett Promotions would get it right. The world champion comes out last. That's the way it's done.
Yeah.
I hated this.
Okay.
I got problems with everything else that's about to happen on this card except for Ric Flair.
Okay. Harper, did you have anything else from before we get into the match? Because I think you got more.
And then, they show Rick. Then I wait to see Nikita. Then I see a sunset.
A birdie.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking.
I wanted you to do the Kerry Von Erich. I'm like a cloud.
and I thought it was like a pop-up or something. Like they're like on YouTube when like an ad just starts playing.
That's what
I thought was going on.
I can't tell you how much I thought the same thing had happened to me, and it was the most faked out I've been since the Sopranos series finale.
I had no idea what was happening.
Right.
Playing this like kind of a country, I don't know, religious love song, and then they show like they're in like Pensacola or some shit with this old broad on the beach.
Mom, like, dude.
Well, I didn't know this. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? What is this? And then I see someone jogging in a distance. I was like,
how's he jogging? His legs are broken.
Is
that Nikita?
And I was thinking, please, is that fucking Magnum? Then I saw the mullet, and I'm like, this is the fucking tribute,
right?
They came up with for Magnum.
You've waited till the night to the show to give us
exactly
something. This is what you give us.
What the fuck, bro?
Dude, I'm right there with Harper on this one, man. That was pitiful all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Okay, they should have showed his clips of his of him winning titles and winning big matches and shit like that or something. No.
Well, here's the thing. Show him in his hospital room with the tubes coming out of him. That's your story. They missed this whole thing up by Nikita is not sympathetic in the least because he comes out in a singlet with the Russian letters CCCP still on him. He's not cutting any kind of promos where he's earned respect for Magnum and he's doing the. How about a vignette on Saturday night where he goes to visit Magnum's room?
And you're right. And then he kind of like passes the fucking torch to him or something like that.
This was lazy, dude. This was super lazy. I'm throwing flags and calling bullshit on this.
Damn.
Yes.
I mean, y'all are shitting on it that bad?
It made me mad. This
was
was
so much easier if he says, "Look, Magnum, I know we had our differences, but look, if the Magnum's like, look, I know we fucking never got along and we fought like hell, but I'm going to pass the fucking torch on to you, man."
They left a lot on the table here that they could have done.
Okay, so I don't disagree with everything you all say. There definitely would have been a way to make Nikita more sympathetic and
goddamn mama on the beaches of fucking Pensacola or fucking Mobile, where the fuck they are.
Okay.
And then I'm supposed to go all the way to believe that if you haven't done all this work to establish, like Nikita picking up the torch, like Carper said for Magnum. Okay, we're in Atlanta, Georgia in 1986. We're just going to cheer a Russian just cause.
Well,
okay, am I going to be some bald communist, or would I rather be Slick Rick over there banging all the broads and being the champ? I'll cheer for him. Which I know was a problem in the late 80s anyway in NWA, but this just made it easy.
Okay, you're talking about the introduction. Let's just listen to the intro of Nikita.
He got more cheers than I thought, but they did. God, this makes me mad.
Let's listen to it. Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this event won fall with a 60-minute time limit for the NWA World Heavyweight title. Introducing first in the corner to my right, the challenger. He is the current U.S. Heavyweight Champion from the Soviet Union, weighing in at 137 kilos, the Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the heavyweight champion of the world from Charlotte, North Carolina, in at 242 pounds, Nature Boy Ric Flair. One fall, 60 minutes.
All right, so to go back to what y'all were talking about. I'm not going to disagree that maybe they could have done something for Nikita to be more sympathetic. But it's easy for us to say that now.
2 years before that, World Class did Heaven Needed a Champion, and that shit was corny, but people were crying and buying T-shirts and all kinds of shit.
Well, you got a point with that.
I mean, he can't walk, so let's roll his carcass in there and get a pin on it. Didn't One Man Gang say that on this very show one time?
He actually did. Doc's not trying to be funny. He actually did. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with what y'all saying, but it's easy to book it. It's easy to look back at it and book it that way. I don't know.
Where's Harper? Is he still on the line? It sounds like
Hi.
Oh, okay. Here's the thing. It is easy to book this at the time. This shit, I mean, it's a terrible tragedy that we've covered what happened to Magnum. And I wish it would have never happened. And I wish that, the NWA would have been completely different if it had been around. And that's not the only reason, like to keep all our people up on their legs working right. But this shit kind of got easy and written for you once he got put in the hospital. And they just ignored it.
I will agree with that. That it got easy once, because you kind of had a ready-made, real sympathetic story in the making,
right?
And I never thought about that, but Harper makes a point about, Nikita does go see him in the hospital.
You have Dusty is the middleman. Dusty is the one that brings them together.
Jeez,
Dusty brings them into the hospital, right? I mean, and then fucking Dusty brings them into the hospital room to meet Magnum, and Magnum's like, "Look, I know we had our differences, and we
You just show a camera through the window of Nikita just sitting there while Magnum's in a coma, and
Okay.
and Nikita's just sitting there like, thinking and staring at him, and then it cuts to a montage of their matches together. Dude,
I'll go with you on that. But let's not forget that they did do a couple of things on Saturday night a couple of weeks ago where Dusty and Nikita explained, Nikita said he had a lot of respect for Magnum. And once he got the call from Dusty, he was like, him and Dusty didn't agree on everything, but the respect that he gained from Magnum in the best of 7 series that ended up being like a best of 15, whatever it was. That's why he felt that it was
what's
important.
the problem with that?
There's
It's
no problem with
Nikita-
it. I'm just
it's
saying.
Nikita talking about it. That's a problem.
Okay.
it would have been so much better than that. Heaven isn't too far away
That
type
song
fucking
hadn't come out yet.
bullshit.
That song
Ugh.
hadn't come out yet.
Oh, whatever, bro. Close enough.
Somebody call Warren. We need him to write this shitty song a year and a half early.
The sad part is I know that song. I don't know how, but okay. All right,
You
so
were
let's
a
get.
wrestler in the mid '90s, so it was a fresh song on the circuit for you guys.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna play a quick soundbite from the middle of the match. I think this is. I don't have my notes aren't good, but I think Rick's about to start delivering some chops to Nikita, and goddamn, it sounds like a firecracker. Here it is. Here it comes. Oh, scratch that. There it doesn't go. For some reason, the damn network
Nature
skipped
Boy
on
Ric
it.
Flair
Hold on.
looked deep into the eye. Oh, there's some heavy right hands, but Nikita Koloff not feeling any of it.
Let me tell you something. And I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know about this. Boy, Rick carried this match. Lord
Yes.
have mercy.
My one note here is there's 2 guys in this ring, but only one of them belongs here.
Wow.
And that's not a knock on Nikita. He's just not ready.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is 86. He's only been in wrestling a little over 2 years at this point.
So I'm not here to take a crap on Nikita for this. I'm talking
Right.
about we're here at the big card. And
this is the
man,
fucking Super Bowl. This is
And-
the game. You know what I'm saying?
he's not in a position to even think about doing his part. Rick was out there working overtime.
Jesus Christ.
He hit those chops and Nikita no sold it. Rick was just like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." He got out of the ring. I'm leaving. That shit was great.
Well,
Yeah,
and that was like the whole part of the beginning of it, man. Rick was just like selling for Nikita, making Nikita look good.
Well, he was selling for him, and I also got the sense he was stalling his ass off to make it seem longer too.
oh, hell
just 'cause
yeah.
They had to draw this thing out because Rick couldn't do a normal match.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Was this the first time that we think on a stage anywhere near this big, I'll say Rick, but we could even say any NWA champion up to that point had to carry that green of a guy on that stage?
On
Well,
a
I mean,
major pay-per-view type of deal? No.
Well, this wasn't even a pay-per-view, but I'm talking like St. Louis for an hour or something like that. Just a big money, big card.
You can't compare that to just a random 60-minute match that he's having with someone.
Well, but what I'm saying is
That's
this.
not.
like,
I mean, this is
well,
Starrcade.
okay, so let
There's
me-
no
let me-
comparison.
I get that, but the point I'm making is that if Flair came to Dallas, he might wrestle Jimmy Garvin, Chris Adams, Iceman, somebody like that in Fort Worth. But if they went to Reunion, it was a bigger show, and you were getting a Von Erich on that card. Did Flair ever? I mean, usually at the big money cards when he came into town, they were throwing the Bob Armstrong, the Kerry Von Erich, the Dusty. Was this the greenest guy that ever got thrown into this high level of a match for the NWA Championship?
See, I
oh
can't
God,
answer.
yeah.
I don't know.
It
Well,
has to be.
Well, at a big event like Starrcade, hell yeah, it's your biggest show of the year. But I mean, to say that it happened, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there he wrestled that was quote unquote green somewhere. He's the fucking NWA World Champion for a whole decade.
I'm not saying didn't wrestle. I mean, in a building like the Omni, even.
I'm look. I don't have the book in front of me to be able to look it up. But I mean,
Moretti, come on,
Tim,
Moretti.
put Tim on it.
Come on, Dodger 49er, UFC Trojan.
That guy's too busy down a rabbit hole with fake me to do anything. Or he's down there sissy fighting with BTT Doc.
Okay, no, I don't know. We'll see what Tim Moretti has when he pulls it. But you know,
here's a weird question: was it just me, or did Rick look a tad bit pudgy here?
No, nah.
He had a little hangover on the back on the tights. Come on, Rick.
Nah.
This is the Super Bowl.
I think Rick was all right here.
I kept watching this thinking, man, if fucking, because the way it starts off, it's Magnum. I mean, it's Nikita and fucking Rick kind of like doing a stare down, thinking how much better would this been if that was Magnum? And I was like, God, this sucks, man. He's not here.
Well, it's funny you say
never
that.
Going to be here.
I know.
Going to be here.
That's
so,
what sucked.
Let me wrap this. Let me get to the finish of it, and then I got a question for y'all because I agree. Eventually, both guys are busted open, and we get some blood again. That's just how it works, you know. Tommy Young is bumped. I figured that was going to happen.
And the other guy gets bumped.
Right. Then Scrappy McGowan comes in, and he gets bumped. Nikita does hit Rick with the Russian sickle at one point, and Nikita actually technically pins Rick while Rick is out. And it was after that McGowan, the alternate referee, comes in the ring, but Nikita misses the Russian sickle this time on Rick, and he lays out McGowan. God damn.
God.
He fucking sent that dude into orbit. Tommy Young gets back up, but then Young throws the match out because Nikita and Rick have lost it, and they're throwing Tommy Young to the side. Let me say this about this finish. You got one big show a year like this back then. I just wish it would have been a clean finish.
No, dude, I look at it like this. It should at least been a fuck finish.
Well, that's what I'm even considering a fuck finish a clean finish.
One of the problems with that was that Arn and Ole just finished 500 miles to the north.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. So, I don't know.
My note here, and I'm right here with you, my note was too much gaga.
The double DQ at the big stage like this.
You're right.
It just didn't sit well with me. And I actually didn't hate this match as much as y'all did. But I will say this. My question is, let's assume Magnum still gets hurt and he can't wrestle. Wouldn't you have both rather have seen Ronnie Garvin versus Rick than Nikita versus Rick right here?
I'll take that. 7 times a week, bro.
Doc?
Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Here's the other thing in hindsight. I'm not so sure that I wouldn't have pushed Nikita somewhere else and had Dusty wrestle him again and have Dusty doing it for Magnum.
Yeah, I don't know. No, you
could say people got tired of that.
You couldn't do that again. You had to get it. No, you can't, Doc. They had already did it 2 years straight. No. And then last year you did the fucking Dusty finish on it. No.
Yeah.
You gotta have somebody else, and I think the guy is Garvin. Even Magnum being hurt. And I know that has a ripple effect down the line on the card. And okay, what do you do with Nikita then? Trust me, we got enough guys to make this shit work. We can figure it out. I know they're only 2 weeks ahead of time, but we can figure it out. There's some smart minds in that room. I'm not shitting on Nikita here. I just think, he was very young. I thought Rick really made a good match out of this. But in hindsight, 32 years later, I look at this and go, I kind of wish Ronnie Garvin got that shot at Rick, and Rick would have won, but I kind of wish Ronnie would have got it because those two fuckers would have beat the piss out of each other, and we'd have been here going, God damn! Did you see their chests? They were purple.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. Doc, any other thoughts?
I would have definitely taken the Garvin match. And on that stage, those two idiots would have been, I say that kindly, would have beaten the hell out of forgotten kayfabe and just beaten the shit out of one another.
They would have chopped each other down. They would have been
Hey,
bleeding.
man. Last week's Bo James on our show made me, man, what I tell you, I said Ronnie Garvin could climb out of his casket at his funeral and whip all three of our asses. So, yeah, that would have been a much better match. I mean, no shade at Rick, because, I mean, Rick was out there trying to get everything he could out of this thing. I still wonder if there was a way, and I think it would have been cut off because of Atlanta. If they'd have done this in Greensboro, you could have done something with Wahoo, maybe, because Wahoo was over in Greensboro.
Well, Wahoo and Rick?
Yeah.
See, no, I like what Wahoo did with
And if we're gonna go with
Rude.
younger guys, I'd have been better off still. And I know he's a dick, but man, couldn't you work something with figuring out a Rick Rude angle to get him in there?
No.
I mean, if we're gonna work with green guys, I'd rather deal with Rude than
He's just
Nikita.
too much. Yeah.
He's too much of an asshole, bro.
Yeah.
I know.
He's
That
too
dude's
good at his job.
That dude's a smug motherfucker. You ain't doing that. The guy for this match was Garvin. Again, we're looking at this 31 years later, and I have all the respect in the world for Dusty for what he put together after Magnum's injury because they were in a bind.
Hold on a second. Well, what about this? When did Kerry lose his foot?
Kerry lost his foot after this, I think.
They should have picked up the phone and called Dallas and said, "You want to make some money, Kerry?"
I think that would have worked.
Dude, in 1986, Kerry was 26 years old.
Yeah, but think of what he had done by then, too.
I'm sorry. He severed his leg on June 4th of this year.
Well, see, there you go.
So he's more likely to be down at the rehab clinic with Magnum TA doing physical therapy than in the ring. Man, these wrestlers need to stay out of vehicles.
Well, at least
All
Kerry
right,
didn't die at that point.
It's Garvin, and the problem is that it was Garvin in '86, and it shouldn't have been Garvin probably in '87.
I'm not gonna say
Spoiler
that.
alert.
I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, I tell you what, I was watching some of Starrcade '87. I was rewatching. I watched the first couple matches. Man, it wasn't too good.
No?
The first couple that I watched. I won't say any names, but
That's nice.
Well, I mean, we'll get there. Here's the thing. I gotta refresh my memory on all the angles and the building up to it. We'll get there. I mean, we're a year away from it. It'll happen. But yeah, that was my thought.
If we're taking a big old hairy dump on '86, what are we gonna do to '87?
I wouldn't call this a hairy dump. We're just kind of looking at it through, fair eyes to say what may have been a better match because Nikita and Rick wasn't a good match. Now, as I say that, they went out there and Rick, had a great match with the guy for what it's worth. I mean, he did everything he could do. I actually think we'd have a different opinion on it, too, if not for the double DQ finish where everybody comes in the ring and there's a pull apart and all that.
That finish didn't help anybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. So let's do the Rolex now. Doc, what are you giving the Rolex?
Why do I gotta go first? Why I gotta go first? Now, this is the whole card, right? So I could give this to Tim Horner and Nelson Royal if I wanted to.
Yeah. You can get it whoever you want.
Oh, you forgot about that. Shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you get the whole thing, pal. Man, I gotta tell you, the Ivan promo was in the running. JJ just did a fantastic job. Rick deserves mention for just going above and beyond and getting hazard pay almost. But man, I think the workhorses of this card was Ole and Arn. And I think they're going to share a Rolex because those two just put a clinic on, I thought. And all four of them did, but I like heels. So Ole and Arn get my Rolex.
Hopper, who are you giving it to?
I'm giving mine to Ricky Morton, bro. He fucking sold his ass off, and he was just so fucking great.
Made it believable.
Made it believable. Fucking bleeding all over the fucking place. Had him screaming for him. Goes for the hot tag. Right? Nope. He gets cut off. Fuck you.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it to Ole and Arn like Doc, but I got to say one thing. I have to give an honorable mention, even though we never do this, to J.J. Dillon getting busted open and
JJ gets the fossil watch.
Yeah, he gets the fossil. For real. You got to agree, though. JJ was out there on the outside during that first blood match selling the piss out of it. Oh, my God. JJ was a great manager in that match. All right. Well, we'll rate the thing now. I'm going to go first. And even though we had these are hard because there's so many matches here. I mean, you can get lost in some of the earlier ones. But I'm going to go top to bottom. I will give Starrcade 86 an A simply because by the time you got to Dusty and Tully, Road Warriors, Midnight Express, even though the match was, the goddamn tag match with the Rock and Roll and Ole and Arn. Don't forget Big Bubba and whatchamacallit, and the guy who got fucked in this whole thing. Garvin. Don't forget that. And then don't forget Jimmy Garvin and Brad, who had a real good match early on. So I'm going to give it an A. It definitely won't get an A+ just because of that finish. But, Doc, you go next.
I think this is one of those cases where in 85 the dual arenas in different cities didn't hurt them. I kind of think this was a time when it did. I think it's goofy. I think it's unnecessary. Of course, next I just looked at 87 Starrcade and they only drew 8,000 in Chicago, so maybe they should do that.
No, it's because they were in Chicago, and that was the first time they went out. They left Greensboro. Like the people in North Carolina were really pissed about that.
I know.
But you know the drill. But go ahead.
And so I think they left a lot of storylines on the table. It's hard. We're being critical, but it's hard because you want to go back and remember 86 Starrcade as being an A+ show because in your mind, for all these years, it has been. It isn't. Right. It isn't. I don't think it's as good as 85, who got an A+ last year. I think we gave it an A++ or something.
85 is off the chain.
So I ain't gonna sit here and say this is a D because it's not. This is still a talented roster doing talented things and entertaining me for what felt like 8 hours. What was it? 4 hours?
Yeah.
So with all that said, I'm gonna give this a B+.
You're an idiot. But anyway. All right. Nice of you, Doc. Nice of you to say, Doc. Okay, so Doc gave it a B+. I gave it an A-. Harper, what did you give it?
You gave it an A.
I'm sorry, an A. I'm sorry,
yeah.
an A. Harper, what do you give it?
I'll give it a solid A. Just a solid regular A. I think it was better than a B, but it wasn't an A+ 100.
Well, last year, it doesn't stack up to last year, that's for sure.
Right. And that fucking Rick match, the one with Rick and Nikita, just like, fuck, man. And then they run in, and then it's like, why are they attacking Nikita? Like, what the fuck did he do to you, Jimmy Garvin? You know?
Right. Well, there you go, and that's it. So, that was our grades. That was Starrcade 86. hopefully you enjoyed our review of it. Next week we get back to the weekly reviews of NWA WCW Saturday Night, and we'll see where the fallout goes and the bunkhouse.
Is it still college football season?
No, we're gonna go back to. I think we're at an hour on next week, and then after that we're back to an hour and a half. So get ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. So this week's Starrcade review was brought to you by tinyurl.com/BTT Amazon. Please use it when purchasing from Amazon. It helps me pay for the podcast hosting site, and it greatly helps support the show. Again, it's tinyurl.com/BTT Amazon. Give it to the wives, girlfriends, anyone in your family who uses Amazon. Thank you very much. Would appreciate it. Now, without any further ado, let's get to part 2 with Bo James. In part 2, Bo and I are going to discuss more Ron Wright stories. He's going to talk a lot about Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, who he calls his wrestling father. Him and Boogie Woogie Man Valiant are very, very close. We're going to talk about Bouncin' Beulah from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and she went to a bunch of WCW shows and all that good stuff. He does touch on Magnum's car accident and Nikita's face turn. And then we get into a short discussion about how everything is a work. So with all that said, Doc and Harper and I will be back shortly to close out the show after we talk to Bo James.